After negotiating for years, the Sitzer-Burnett case has come to a settlement. So if you're a realtor and especially a buyer's agent, now what? I'm seeing a lot of negative news around this settlement. Many of the people writing about it don't have a clue what this settlement means. What they're saying is based on scarcity and fear, and most of it is just plain wrong. And it's easy to freak out when things are changing, and things are always changing. I have been in this industry for 18 plus years, and I've sold many homes a year, representing buyers and sellers. I have seen it all. So I'm talking to you about this as an expert. I'm going to clarify what is actually happening right now, what it means for sellers, what it means for buyers, what it means for both buyer and seller agents. I also want to show how it affects the global economy and the professionals who support the industry. I will not be talking specifically about commissions due to antitrust laws. In the real estate industry, antitrust laws prohibit discussing commissions directly between real estate agents. These laws are designed to promote fair competition and prevent price fixing or collusion. When realtors discuss commissions directly, it could be interpreted as an attempt to set standard rates across the industry, which is not good. The basics of the lawsuit and the settlement. Bottom line, the National Association of Realtors was in a legal battle defending practices that have long been basic in real estate transactions. The lawsuit challenged certain approaches to broker compensation. The proposed settlement modifies these practices. The National Association of Realtors has agreed to the settlement, but they still have to be approved by the court. What's fascinating is that the lawsuit was actually brought against a multiple listing service rule called the Cooperative Compensation Model Rule, or MLS Model Rule. And that MLS Model Rule was introduced in the 1990s by consumer protection advocates to protect buyers and buyer representations. And now they're ruling against it. It seems a bit counterintuitive, but hey, there is money involved and some very greedy people must see opportunity. So here we are. The sharks are coming out. NAR did not admit to any wrongdoing in connection with the MLS model rule. Some agents are up in arms that NAR didn't fight harder, but we aren't attorneys and we weren't in the room. NAR is the largest trade association in the United States with over 1.5 million active members. They have substantial lobbying power. The association also has a financial investment in promoting the best interests of agents, because if they don't help, realtor members will simply leave. During settlement negotiations, NAR fought to release all members from liability for commission-related claims. They were able to ensure that a majority, more than 1 million members, will be included in the settlement's release of liability. This release didn't include Home Services of America and its related companies, the last corporate defendant still litigating the Sitzer-Burnett case. Changes for buyer's agents. If approved by the court, the settlement means that our industry will see some significant changes in regulations regarding broker compensation commissions offers through the MLS. These changes are expected to take effect by mid-July of 24, and I guarantee that we'll see more clarification before then from both NAR and the MLS nationally and locally. Here's where we stand now. Big change number one. NAR will not allow offers to compensation to buyer's agents to be posted on MLS listings. Compensation and who will pay the commission will be negotiated off of the MLS. That said, sellers will still be able to offer concessions, like covering buyers' closing costs, etc., on the MLS platform. Change number two. NAR will require written representation agreements for MLS participants working with buyers, along with laying out responsibilities and clarifying expectations. This agreement will cover compensation and how much the buyer's agent will be paid, regardless of who pays for it. Some very smart buyer's agents already do this. They have open conversations with their clients about commissions, educating buyers, showing what differentiates them from other agents, and demonstrating the value they bring to the table. Honestly, every buyer's agent worth their salt should already be doing this. After the settlement, it will be mandatory. How this affects buyers. As I see it, it affects veterans the most. You know, those wonderful human beings that serve our country and risk their lives to protect us. The government has programs in place to help veterans buy homes. One benefit of those programs is that they pay less in out-of-pocket expenses. However, one of the VA regulations is that the veteran is not allowed to pay any brokerage fees. So this new regulation will make it much harder for those heroes to attain the American dream of home ownership. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs lender statistics, 400,692 VA loans were given in the U.S. in 2023. The new regulations will have a major impact on those buyers. Another concern about this new regulations is that it means compensation for the buyer's agent will potentially fall to buyers. Under the old rules, the seller's side most often paid the buyer's agent's compensation, even though commission is and always has been negotiable. However, with this new rule, where you can't show compensation on the MLS, how much and whether the seller is willing to contribute, there's a possibility that buyers may need to cover this cost out of pocket. Buyers already face multiple out-of-pocket costs when purchasing a home. These costs can include lender fees, costs associated with obtaining a mortgage, including home origination fees, credit report fees, and appraisal fees, title and escrow charges, fees for title search, title insurance, and escrow services, prepaid expenses such as property taxes, homeowners insurance, and possibly private mortgage insurance, or a homeowners association dues prorated to the time of purchase. Inspection costs, which can include general home inspections, pest inspections, roof and specialized inspections like well and or septic systems. Legal fees. In some states or situations, buyer may need to pay for a real estate attorney's services. Recording fees, cost to record the deed and the mortgage, documents with the local government, transfer taxes, taxes imposed by some states or localities on the transfer of the property. If the buyer is also responsible to cover the agent's compensation, it can significantly increase their upfront costs, potentially limiting their purchasing power or even their ability to buy a home at all. This is especially critical for first-time home buyers or those with limited funds. They might have trouble coming up with funds beyond the down payment and traditional closing costs. According to NAR, National Association of Realtors, in 2023, first-time home buyer represented 32% of the market. That's nearly 1/3 of all sales, and first-time buyers are most likely to have limited funds. How this affects sellers. Of course, this doesn't just affect buyers, it also affects sellers and the broader real estate market. If buyers have more out-of-pocket expenses, the pool of eligible buyers will shrink, which in turn will reduce demand for homes. Decreased demand usually leads to longer selling times and lower selling prices. Sellers will have more trouble selling their homes with favorable terms, and they may not even be able to sell at all. And think about it. No one is going to work for free. A buyer's agent isn't going to take on all the responsibility and liability of representing a buyer without being paid. My marketing for my listings is outstanding, and we expose each home to hundreds of thousands of people, both locally and out of the area. Yet statistically speaking, according to Bankrate, dual agency, when the listing agent represents both the buyer and the seller, only happens about 5 to 6% of the time. That means that the listing agents have to cooperate with buyer's agents to get homes sold. As a listing agent, 94 to 95% of the time, you're going to be dealing with a buyer's agent, and that person wants to be paid. It's also important to note that in 2021, according to NAR, a for sale by owner, a seller who represents themselves and selling to save money, actually sold on an average for $95,000 less. In my own experience, when I've seen people doing that, they don't know what they don't know, and they lose money. According to Orchard.com, in 2022, the median price for a seller without representation was $310,000. With an agent, the median price was $405,000. Again, that's a $95,000 difference. Implications on the broader market. Who else is affected? An active real estate market supports a wide network of professionals and services. Real estate plays a huge role in the world's economy, being worth more than all the stock and bonds combined. The real estate industry accounts for 18 to 20% of the entire global economy. Just like the strikes in Hollywood affected literally thousands of professionals and businesses, when the real estate industry stalls out, huge chunks of the economy take a hit. For example, home inspectors and appraisal services, repair and renovation specialists, title and escrow companies, loan officers and mortgage brokers, legal professionals who, especially in states or situations that require legal representation, home warranty companies, various inspectors and specialists, pest, radon, septic systems, report and disclosure companies, insurance companies, and I can go on and on. Each of these services play a crucial role in any real estate transaction. And sellers and buyers agents manage all of these parties, which is a lot of responsibility. Fewer transactions means less demand for these services. It has a negative impact on their businesses, which in turn affects the local economy and ultimately the global economy. The new regulations, how buyers agents' compensation is handled, are designed to add transparency and fairness, but they also cause some potential problems that we all need to be aware of and respond to. What should you as a buyer's agent do? Like I said, things are always changing. Your job is to first make sure buyers understand the value you bring to the table, and also make sure that you bring exceptional value by honing your skills and being the best darn buyer's agent you can be. You need to be confident when you present the written buyer-broker agreement and not shy away from the discussions about your compensation with them and with the seller's agents. You need to learn to be a better communicator about the value that you deliver to the buyers. You need to be a collaborative negotiator so that you work well with the listing agent. You need to be known as a great problem solver who can keep a deal alive when it hits a bump in the road. If you're doing your job properly, you're worth the compensation you'll be paid and more. Plus, you need to showcase your unique abilities, your expertise and knowledge long before someone needs your services. You need to start marketing and creating content that educates and helps your community so that you become a sought-after agent for both buyers and sellers. You need to build a reputation for high integrity and professionalism, so the agents are thrilled to work with you. I put together a short piece called The Buyer's Guide to Buying Your Perfect Home. In it, I talk about several of the many benefits a great buyer's agent can bring. My name is Lynn Alt with eXp Realty, helping people to make the right move.